So, bro, something that I've always wanted ever since I was a little kid was a close group of friends, a close group of real friends. You know, the friends I'm talking about, these would be friends that you could go out with, do just like a bunch of things with, come back home late at night, tell all your secret to these friends, and this is basically your gang. This is your close group of friends. These are your boys. And this was something that I've always wanted since I was little, but I've never had this friends. I've never had this group of friends until recently. And the reason why I was never able to achieve this was because I noticed that every single friend that I had in my life would just walk away. People would come and go. Friends that I had would come and go. And maybe they would just move. Maybe we just lost contact. We stopped talking. Maybe they just stopped liking me. They didn't talk to me anymore. And I noticed that this would happen very often. So, for example, last year in university, I met this guy in my class, and for the first time I met him, he was pretty cool, he was pretty chill, and then I kept seeing him on campus. And then later I realized I had three other classes with him. So, four classes with this guy. This was really uncommon. And eventually, one day in class, I'm like, hey, dude, I actually saw you in like my three other classes. We have four classes together. And, from them, we started talking, from being and spending this time with this guy in the class. We would do our assignments together. We would text all the time about assignments. We would do these group project togethers. And it seemed like, spending so much time with this guy, him being all my classes, I'm like, you know what? I might be like a close friend. We might get closer. He might be a friend that might stay with me throughout my entire time in university. And long story short, the semester ends, we keep getting close. But after the semester ends, after classes end and summer starts, we kind of just lose contact even after I try to reach out. You can just tell when someone doesn't want to reach out, by the response and everything. And next semester comes and I see him. And I'm just like, hey, dude, like, how are you? We should meet up. We've got lots of events going on. And you can just tell that he didn't want to, like, continue this, like, he was just like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, he wasn't there. The energy wasn't there. And from there, I was just like, oh, man, like, it's one of these cases again where, like, someone I was close to, someone that I would talk to regularly, someone that I thought was going to be a close friend, just kind of like slowly vanishes away. We go our separate ways. And for me, seeing this and realizing that this has happened throughout my entire life, I started to think to myself, I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, what am I doing wrong? And then I was just like, maybe I should give up. Maybe friends just aren't for me. But then I realized something. I realized, you know what? I'm in a school that's so big, one of the biggest social schools in the United States where I live in, 40,000 people. How am I going to go 4 years without making a group of friends? This solid group of friends that I've always wanted. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give. I still got to push myself out there. So from that happening last year, this year I make it a priority to make a bunch of friends, get that social group. And from me trying, experimenting, going to different clubs, observing how friend groups work, I think I finally found the answer. So in this video, I'm going to share with you three things that I've been doing this semester to get that group of friends, a group of friends that you can go out with, a group of friends that are just real. And most importantly, these three things are going to help you attract not only friends, it's not only going to help you make friends, but attract real friends that are going to stay in your life. I can't guarantee 100% guarantee that they're going to stay because the world's crazy, a bunch of things happen, but these three tips are going to help you and have helped me attract the right friends that stay and value me and not walk away so easy. So, the first thing I'm going to tell you that you need to understand about friends is that people like being comfortable. People like being comfortable, and no one wants to do something that's uncomfortable unless they absolutely necessarily have to do it. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because most people that have already associated themselves and are already in friend groups do not want to accept you. Most people do not want to make new friends because they're already comfortable with their close group of friends that they're in, their friend group. You might be asking, why am I telling you this? Well, this is because If you're someone who has tried making a bunch of friends in class, or like in your day-to-day life, you realize it's not really working, or even if you have people walk out of your lives, it's because they're already comfortable with their current friends and they don't want to accept you in it. It might sound brutal, but think about it yourself. If you had a chance to meet someone new and prioritize time with them, would you do that? Or if your close friends and your group of boys is saying, hey, let's make more memories, let's do this, you would probably prioritize your current friends, your current circle group that you already have, because you're comfortable with them. You're already comfortable making new memories with them because you want to invest your time. You don't want to risk investing your time in this new guy who you don't know, because it might not work out. You're going to invest in your friends that you already know. So if you're making friends with people that have already established their social groups, people who are already having friends, it most likely might not work out. And of course, there's outliers where you can meet people and they're like, hey, come with my friends, we're having this thing. There are those cases. I'm not saying that this is 100% going to happen, but especially for me and most people, it's very hard to make friends and kind of just like squirm your way into an already established friend group. So something you can do to avoid this is in university. Sorry, the sun is completely glaring off the windows. Hopefully this doesn't mess up the video too much. But something that you can do to change this and avoid this is going to first ever events in the university. So go to first week events like welcome week, go to the first call out meetings in university. And the reason why you want to do this is because everyone that is going to these events, they don't know anyone. They're trying to make friends. So for example, in my situation, a couple months ago in January, I went to this first call out meeting for one of these groups that I wanted to join. And my brain was making a bunch of excuses not to go, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the first one. I need to go to this first one because it's a new year, it's a new semester. People are already expecting change. It's kind of like a Netflix series, okay? So if you think about a series that you watch, think about like a new season that is new, it's a whole new season, you're super hyped. You're expecting some change, right? You're expecting some new characters, you're expecting, to be a new plot, and this is acceptable because it's the first season. It's the first episode of the new season. Compared to if the plot changes, there's like this random guy that comes in the middle of the series. It's just like, who's this? I'm not used to this. This is weird. So same thing with friend groups and events. If you don't go to these first events, if you just show up in the middle of them, it's just kind of like, oh, who's this guy? It's just kind of weird. So go to first call out meetings. If there's any clubs you want to join the very first call out one. Go to like first week events. And I'm not saying that you won't make any friends if you go to like the middle of the semester ones, or like it's not the first one, but it's 10 times better if you do this. The second thing that you can start doing to attracting real friends who want to stay in your life is being involved in clubs where people actually look up to you and need help. So for my case, an example, this semester I joined a transfer mentor program. And basically, what I do is that I mentor transfer students who are looking for help on how to get adjusted, how to make friends, how to get adjusted to this huge university that I'm in. And recently, I had this one girl reach out to me. She was transferring and she wanted to basically have a social life. She wanted the whole experience. And from me giving her help, from me getting her adjusted into her things, she looked up to me for advice, and now she can connect with me because I'm almost have authority in a position. I almost am saying, hey, like I provide value on how to make friends, and because of this, I got her involved into a few clubs at the school, got her some more friends, and now we have this group of friends that we're going to do stuff with. So when you join clubs and when you have like a position where you help people, people look up to you, because when you help people, people are most likely not going to forget the value that you gave them. So for example, I got this transfer student. I got her adjusted to everything. I gave her a new club to join. I gave her advice on housing. She's not going to forget what I did. And now we're becoming closer. And now we have like this established relationship where it's just like, oh, yeah, like you can come to me forever. You can come and ask me for advice whenever. The third thing you can start doing, man, this sounds really crazy. I'm trying to like avoid my face in the shadow. But the third thing you could start doing is participating in class. Now you might be thinking right now, oh, why would I want to be the teacher's pet? I'm not smart. This means I'd have to do more work. And the reason why you want to do this is because when you participate in class, you are attracting lots of attention to yourself. I'm not talking about just participating once in a while. Maybe this is fine, you'll get noticed, but think about it like this. If you're some shy guy with your hoodie up, heads down all the time, not really paying attention to much, people aren't going to notice you. Maybe you can make some friends around you, sure, but there's always something about that one kid who's always raising their hand. I'm not talking about like someone who's just a smart aleck, someone who just is like really just like overly confident in like their skills, but there's always that one guy who's just like, man, he participates a lot. He must be interesting. And I'll give you a story on how I know that this thing, participating, gets you a bunch and attracts your friends. Last year, my freshman year, I had a business presentation class. Now, for most people in this class, this was their first ever like time doing a presentation. For me, it was not. I had taken some presentation class before. I'm naturally good at it. Whatever, whatever. So, it's the first day of presentations. We're supposed to do like an impromptu, just off the hook, off the bat presentation about yourself. And it's the first presentation for people. Not many people know how to speak. And then it's finally my turn. For me, I just present how I usually do. I had presented before, so I just use what I already knew. And long story short, this speech, because I knew how to present myself, this speech stood out than everyone else's. People obviously knew and saw me. They're like, "Oh wow, this guy knows how to speak. This guy knows how to use hand gestures. Walk around the room without being still." And they saw that. A couple of days goes by. I have this class again, and I come in, and people are just looking at me. I'm just like, that's kind of weird. What's going on? And then like some more people come in the classroom, and some guys come up to me. They're like, "Hey, you're JJ, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's me." And they were coming up and telling me, they were like, "Dude, your presentation was solid. Like, good job, man. Like, how do you know how to present so well? Can you give me some tips for the class?" And this gave me a bunch of attention. People started asking me, like, "Oh, you're really good at speaking." People got close to me because of me participating in class and knowing what I'm doing. People are like, "Oh wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy, he's not afraid to give his response or answer. He knows something. He's high value." It's almost as like people see you as giving value if you participate. Now you might be thinking right now, "Oh, but am I gonna have to do lots of work? Am I gonna have to like, this means I have to like actually know the subject?" And yeah, you do. I'm not going to tell you no. But here's the thing. If you have to do your classes anyway, if you have to, do a good job anyway, why not actually like do well in the subject, learn something, and then when you participate, you can give value and you can grab attention. And people will ask you for more things because people aren't going to remember you if you're the shy guy when you never participate. The most popular people always give their responses and participate in class. So these are a couple things that you can do to attract real friends in your life, definitely get some attention, and have that social life that you always want in university. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.